Hey guys, welcome back to the Art of Keith Busher Precious Mutations tutorial on our skull pieces, our When the Reaper Sleeps piece. I just finished a tutorial on making an eye for the skull sconces. I need to upload that still, so it may show up. I just wanted to show you really quick. I was going to do a quick little job on the rat skull for our Death of Rats that we have here. I started working on it a little bit because I wanted the clay to actually get a little bit firmer. I don't think it has yet, but we'll do our best with what we have here. The thing about the Aves epoxy sculpt, the AVES epoxy sculpt, I'll show you here. The Aves from avesstudio.com, which is the clay that I use. It does have a working time of about 3 to 4 hours, but when you first mix it, it's a two-part epoxy, self-drying epoxy. When you first mix it, it's very soft. It's kind of like a plasticine. So you see it's very pliable. It's easy to move around. It's kind of like a warm plasticine consistency. What I wanted to do was get the piece on here so that it would firm up, and then once it's firmed up, because right now if I was trying to push little tiny details into this, it's not going to work very well because the whole thing is going to be like mush and it's going to want to move. So I'm waiting for it to actually cure a little bit. So I mixed this about 10 minutes ago. It's a little firmer. What I did do, because it's such a small piece, and because I'm going to be really kind of pushing and pulling to try and get as much detail as I can out of this, is I did put one little tiny drop of crazy glue on the mouse's face before I applied the clay, and that way hopefully when I'm trying to kind of shape it and give it some texture and some shape, then hopefully it will hold it on a lot better. Alright, I'm sorry for our display is a little bit different today. Because I am now using the Aves mat that they sent me. It's a lovely mat. The clay does not stick to it at all. It's got a bit of cat hair on it because the cat was up here sleeping earlier. Give me 1 second. I've switched to my desk number 2, so I apologize. I forgot my tools over on the other side. This is my second desk in my studio. It's a little bit bigger, so it gives me a little more space to kind of maneuver around so that you guys can kind of see what we're doing. Now, what I don't have over here, unfortunately, is access to my computer, because my computer monitor is usually where I pull up reference photos for the stuff that I'm doing. So, in this case, I need the rat skull, so I did my research first to kind of take a peek, see what they had, and I got a general idea of where I wanted to go and what I want to do, and so now I'm just trying to find the correct tools. So what I want to do is I want to have a tool to do the eye sockets, but the skull of a rat, he has a very strong overbite. So I really have to kind of actually go through here, which is going to be difficult considering this piece. So that's why I'm hoping that this will firm up rather quickly. So that I can put those details in there. Now he's got two big sharp teeth in the front too, and his nostrils as well. So this is what I'm trying to do right now. It's not working the greatest, like I said, because we're still a little bit soft. See how his face is like crooked now? We're not so much worried about this side, because generally this is going to be sitting on your shelf and people aren't really going to see that side. Forgot my knife. Sorry, guys. Terribly unprofessional. I should have prepared myself much better. You can't ever do anything without your hobby knife, right? So, I'm back again. Sorry. So, I'm going to have I've got my little hobby knife here. So I'm gonna try and put in the rat teeth. And we're gonna add, when we add color and stuff like that, it's really gonna, we'll yellow these up a bit. I'm not sure. I've sculpted things this small before, but I've never sculpted anything. I don't want to say I never have, but it is always a challenge whenever you're trying to sculpt around all these other stationary pieces that already exist. I've sculpted things that are this small, but I've sculpted them and then added them later. This is probably one of the smallest things that I've had to sculpt onto an existing piece. So I'm just gonna try and pull this out so that it looks like those teeth stick out a little bit more. And again, we're having that problem over here, so we're just gonna push those teeth back in a bit. This little blue spot, I'm not sure what that is, but it's giving me a bit of a reference for where the eye is gonna be, so that's good. We'll leave it there for now. Alright, so I think from this side, it's starting to look alright. And anything that, and everything is fixable, so I'll be able to fix it with some paint and make it look a lot sharper, a lot nicer. Let's try and fix it again from this side so it looks a little more balanced. Looks right if you're looking at it from straight on. And this will fill it with paint. If I make that hollow like it should be, there's just not gonna be enough strength in there to hold that piece together until it dries. So the last thing that we gotta do is create the eye sockets for our death of rats. And again, we'll add a lot of the depth into this with paint. As I like to say, if your favorite shirt doesn't have paint on it, it's not your favorite shirt. Alright, so there's one eye socket. We're gonna add a hood and everything to this guy as well, so he'll look pretty cool. And I always add at least like 4 layers of paint to any given project, just to give it that much depth, because depth is really important. Depth is what sells the piece. Alright. So we want to keep a bit of the cartoony kind of comic-y look to this piece. I'm not crazy about this eye over here. I'm gonna go grab a little tiny bit more of the white clay that I have mixed up. Ow. My toe. Here it is. Terribly unprepared today. Sorry about that, guys. I have a little bit more of the white clay that's mixed up already, so I'm going to take a bit more of that. Actually, I'm going to take a lot more of this, because number one, I'm going to make that eye socket better. I'm going to make it a little more look like an eye socket. Hopefully. I'm not going to screw this up now. I kind of feel like I'm screwing this up now. Everything's fixable, right? That's what I said. Okay, so we're going to bring this eye up a little bit so it looks a little more even. Okay, so I think we've got pretty close to our little death of rats here. So I am going to use the leftover clay. I like to try and guesstimate how much clay I'm going to use. but I'm not always right. And if you always end up with a little bit extra clay, then that's alright. So why don't we give him his little hood. We're gonna have his ears still sticking out. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this quite yet. But let's try it anyway. Man, not going well for me. Might have to take a Dremel tool to this. Sorry guys. Might have to take a little bit of a Dremel tool to it just to kind of... This hood is not going well so far. Let's see what we can do. Alright, I'm gonna take that right off. I'm gonna try and leave as much of the skull as we can, and I'm gonna have to rethink this a little bit. Let's let that skull dry, and then once that skull is dry, then we will add. So, what do you guys think? There's our little skull. Sorry, I know a lot of this was kind of not in the picture and stuff. I apologize. Not my best video. Still learning. Still adjusting. Still getting used. This is a new tripod that I'm trying out. I should have put the wide angle lens on it, but I forgot. Because I'm just a little frazzled. Because I've got some big stuff happening and it's pretty cool and it's kind of taking up my brain space at the moment. But that's all news for another day. Coolly? Alright, so there we go. There's our little death of rats. When we paint him, he's gonna look pretty cool. It'll look more like a rat skull, I promise you, and we'll make it look really nifty. Nifty. Lame. It'll look cooler, I promise. Alright, so I'll leave that as it is for now. Thank you for watching. Please follow us on Facebook, Art of Keith Busher, Precious Mutations, Instagram at Precious Mutator, and we'll be posting some more progress pics really soon. Thanks a lot. Have a great night.